not caring enough to see it all the way through the courts. Man, I hope the future ain't all of us just like ride sharing and Rabovins. I really hope that ain't it. That's a terrible future if that's the case. Like, we've all got a terrifying future in front of us. You can fit 25 people in a Rabovin. Yeah, but, dude, do you think in that first demo that somebody farted in the Rabovin? I bet they did. I bet somebody farted in the Rabovin on the first demo of the Rabovin, because that's what that thing is. It's a big hot box for farts. Hermetically sealed off in there, dude. What if somebody just fucking releases ass in there, bro?
No, it looks hermetically sealed.
Yeah. Dude, if I was in there, I would have pushed out the first Rabovin fart, because I want people to know what this future is not only going to look like, but what it's going to smell like.
I was wrong. Apparently they're laying off all the non-union people.
Oh, well,
the union strike.
That's what happens when you work at a place that has a mixed fucking mixed employment. What it do? What it do? What it do?
They're just a mess. They just need to be fucking nationalized.
Well, there's a lot of things that need to be nationalized. It was awkward customer service moments of my life. I thought the lady helping me at her desk was about to shit her pants in front of me. Sick. Yeah, those are what makes life worth living, you know, your awkward customer service shit. What should you write a song about? Who farted in the Rabovin, bro? That needs to be a song, dude. Somebody farted in the Rabovin. Who was it? Did you guys see the fucking Rabovin yet? Are you guys up to date on the fucking Rabovin? This hideous brick of a fucking 1992 mouse that fucking, what's his name, is trying to get, Elon is trying to get you to fucking drive around in. Dude, the Rabovin, bro. The fart bombs. The rolling Dutch oven, bro. Just go look it up. What I'm saying there is Robovan, but it's pronounced Rabovin. And he says that Tesla is going to make them. They're going to make them. It's the future. It's the future, dude. Way of the future.
There's your Rabovin.
There it is. Just in case anybody wants to see it. The Rabovin. There it is. The Rabovin. Why does the future look so ass? I don't fucking know. Is it self-driving? Yeah. How would anybody drive it? It doesn't have a windshield. Better hope it's self-driving. This is like, this self-driving shit is going to be used to make it to where people can't afford to have cars anymore. The next step is your average person won't be able to have a car. They'll have an app where they order a Rabovin, and they got to wait for the Rabovin that's in their area to come and pick them up too if it isn't full. It's gonna suck, bro. It's the future's bleak, but whatever, you know. Oh, she was smelling her own stank. Cool. Something reeks, and it's her. Ma'am, it's you. Ma'am, it's you that reeks. Did you See Terrifier 3? Nope, I haven't even seen Terrifier 1, so there you go. What you doing? What you doing? I don't know, dude. What the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? So, open borders, yeah, let's do it. Fling them wide open. Anybody that wants to come, comes. Whoa, there's been a giant jump in numbers. That means that there's probably a lot of dummies about to break the rule. Well, I've got you all here. Let me explain the rule. The rule is if you have a sub 75 IQ, you don't get to post in here. That means if you're dumber than Gump. That's going to be that. So if you ask a stupid question like, do you smoke Fent? It's probably going to be your last thing that you post up in here. Jesus loves you. That's sub Gump. That's got to go. Oh, 74. Almost made it, little bro. Almost made it. Oh, King, you have broken one of the unwritten rules in here. You have a name that has special characters in it to make you stand out. That's not allowed. All right, I think the wave is over. It's super weird. I think YouTube sticks you at the top of people's like shorts feed for a second. You get this huge pulse of people, like 100 people come out of nowhere, and most of them just go like, nah. I try and make sure as many of them say nah as possible. So then my poor little mods don't have to spend all night banning. That's what happened to me, yeah. Sucked you right in, huh?
Do you have a drink or no?
I do, I have a little drink out here. I would do a beer though.
Yeah.
I am kind of feeling like a beer. How do you say thank you again? Shish.
Yeah.
Shish. I learned thank you finally. Shish. I just kissed my dog. You're next. Okay, fair enough. Come on, D. Come here. Come see me. Come see me. All the way up. Come on. Come see me. I want a nap. They want me to kiss you. You gotta get all the way up. Come on. Come over here. Jump up. Jump up here. Get up here. Get up here. You don't want to get up here. He's not feeling like lap time right now. He's on the watch. He doesn't want to jump on a lap because he's watching the darkness. You guys, what are the rules? I'm new. The rules are super simple. You can't be dumb. You can't be dumb. That's really the only rule. Like, respect the vibe and don't be completely like bottom fifth retarded. That's it. Just like the throwaway shit that you usually waste people's time with just gets you banned here because I'm not trying to collect new people to watch me. I'm always cool if like somebody that's got a brain in their head finds me, but I'm not out here trying to collect new people like most of the people are.
Well, light or dark? I forgot that we had one more dark.
Oh,
beer
it
in
don't
the
matter
bar.
to me, baby. Whichever one you want.
Okay. Alright, cool.
You giving me the light one?
Yeah.
Thank you. I will take it. We need borders, just like fences at a house should be incredibly easy and inexpensive to become a citizen, but difficult to come in illegally. Why don't we just get rid of the coming in illegally and just allow people to come here? If you can make it here, there's a place for you here. What is the Midwest suddenly got people in it? I'm sorry. The last time I flew over it, it was nothing but emptiness. So is the Midwest now completely chock full of giant cities and people? We got no more room? I just don't understand it. America has always been a country that said, hey, you want to come here? My land is held beside the Golden Door.
Well, the thing is, too, is if immigration was easier the other way, I bet a lot of Americans wouldn't want to live in America.
True.
They'd make room.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Yeah.
Like, if you had the ability to just be like, fuck it.
I don't want to
go
live on
New
this.
Zealand.
I don't want to live on this continent anymore. I'm going to another continent and just go to China, go to fucking South America, go somewhere else. Yeah, it's retarded though. Like people that fearmonger immigration, they have to make an argument that now, at this point in history, immigration is a problem. Never has been before. Has actually strengthened America. Every time there was a giant wave of immigrants, whether it was from Europe, whether it was from South America, Central America, Mexico, whether it was from the Middle East, whether it was from Jews fleeing the fucking Holocaust, every time a wave of immigration has happened in this country, people have freaked out about it and said, close the borders. And then that wave of immigrants enriches this place. It just happens over and 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 over. We're all living in America. That's a totally original song you wrote. Oh shit, Stevie's in here. But it's not really Stevie. The real Stevie never, ever comes in here. He got no time for Paul's ego.
But yeah, like that's the immigration argument people forget is like we're almost trapped in here. Just like we're trying to keep people out of here.
Yeah. I mean, most people are even more trapped here than it is difficult for most people to get here. Like it's unbelievably hard for somebody to pull themselves out of the tar pit of being an American and move somewhere else. Some of us like the tar pit. I'm one of those. I don't want to really get out of the tar pit. Maybe my perspective on that will change. Hopefully next year we do a little world traveling. A little hop, a little skip, a little jump, see how other people are living. But I don't know, man. I'm too fucking American.
We dreamed about Uruguay for a while, but I think we looked at just the steepness, trying to figure it out.
There's some wild shit about Uruguay that we didn't even know.
Like the mortgages only cover like half or something.
Yeah, but there's also some positives that we didn't know. It's something like permanent residence in 11 months. So you get permanent residency in Uruguay, living there 11 months. Citizenship in 2 years. I think it's like the first 3 years you live there, 0 tax on foreign income. So it covers your residency period. I mean, that frees up a lot of money. You know what I mean?
You still gotta pay it to the U.S. though while you're doing it.
I mean, technically, what are they gonna do? What, are they gonna come get you in Yodawai? You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Nah, they ain't fly nobody down there to get you. I just quit paying taxes. No, I'm kidding. You can't do that. Death and taxes, baby. They'll find it.
They love the fucking double
The double dip,
of,
the double whammy. Residents, legal residents living abroad, having to pay double dip taxes. Yeah. Yeah, they will sue you. How are they gonna sue me when I change my name to Sebastian de la Cruz? I have no idea who this Paul Zigo even is. I am Sebastian de la Cruz. They'll ban you from the U.S. Oh no.
I don't know, maybe that should be our like retirement plan when we know for sure that we don't want anything here anymore.
Yeah, we just get the fuck out.
Yeah, after our parents are dead and gone and shit.
Salty balls. But you said, what would they even do? And that's the mundane answer. I ain't gonna do shit. I ain't gonna do shit. I'm gonna do nothing. Nada. Suck on my salty chocolate ball holes. I just spent a month in Portugal and then a month in Wales, and we're just not doing it right. It's a mentality. Every single person you see isn't trying to fight their way to the top. Yeah, but that's that's the American fucking character right there. That's what brought so many people to this continent when it was opened up to trade and immigration and shit. Like, if you want to get out there and grab yours, this is a place where you can do it. So it concentrates that side of the kind of mentality in its people. And marshaling that kind of motive force is really what politics is about. It's like the labor movement is marshaled entirely by that motive force of the capitalistic imperative, right? It's like, I have to work in order to live. I'm going to get as much bread as I can for my fucking labor. Right? That kind of drive is intrinsic here. It's going to have to be a massive, massive cultural shift to get America, wean America off of that individualism teat. If it's even at all possible, which it may not be. What state you in, Kelly? How would you begin to do that? My mind is focused on labor. I think labor is like getting the best deal possible for workers is the greatest, and also functionally teaching people how to act politically outside of the duopoly, which is just about funneling your money out. Yeah. I think getting people involved in labor, getting people involved in mass protest, walkouts, sit-ins, nonviolent civil disobedience, those sorts of things are what we're going to have to do. Whether or not it works is dependent on how long we wait to do it and how big the movement is. But I genuinely believe right now that if the American people woke up out of this dream mindset where somehow we've been convinced that your neighbor is your enemy and all just kind of like linked arms and said no more, it'd be fucking over for this paradigm. It'd be over. And we could rebuild it in our image. But, that's a fantastical thing, skipping to that. But I think you start to inject that kind of mentality generationally by, decoupling yourself from football politics and getting yourself involved in direct action, labor, civil disobedience, etc. Did you say company towns are a form of slavery? Absolutely. It's like slavery with extra steps. It's like, okay, so you're a slave, you're a black slave back in the 1600s here in America, right? You're working in the field. At the end of the day, they give you a bowl of gruel, right? If you're a miner living in a company town, you work all day in the mine, you go to the company store and buy a bowl of gruel with your company script. It's the same thing. It's slavery with more steps, which is exactly how I describe the American prison system as well. It's just slavery with an extra step or two. Well, a company town, as I understand it, is a town where pretty much everybody in the town works for a single company, and the people that work there are paid in company script, not legal tender. They're paid in company money, and they go to a company grocery store and buy company goods with company money. Amazon is in the process of recreating company towns. Tesla is trying to create a company town in Texas.
I mean, there's vestiges of it. Like, if you work for a big monopoly, then you do kind of have to pay into their system.
Sure. I mean,
if you work at Walmart and Walmart's the only gig in town, then you're going to be spending your paycheck at Walmart.
Right. Right. I mean, places like that, especially food places, they love to give their employees a discount, like a little tiny discount, because it just shaves a little profit margin, but you give back a huge chunk of your paycheck. Now, they basically didn't pay you for a couple hours because you got food for your family at the Burger King. It's wild. It's wild. What happened to my great-grandparents in Hawaii on the pineapple plantation? Yeah, company town, company script stuff, yeah. I mean, it was a paradigm for a long time. Functionally illegal now, but they're finding legal ways around it. And the way Amelia mentioned is the way around it. They pay you in legal tender, but you live in a town where the grocery store, the mechanic, everything is owned by Tesla and provided by Tesla. So you make money at the Tesla Gigafactory, you take it out of the Gigafactory, and everything in your town is Tesla owned. So your money goes right back into Tesla. See? Or Amazon. Or Google. Have you ever mentioned what you do for a living, your educational background? When did you get so passionate about politics, economics, etc.? I do this for a living, so I'm a podcaster. I've been a podcaster for 10 years. Before that, I was just like a blue-collar worker. I worked IT for about 8 years. I worked customer service for about 10 years before that. I'm not particularly well educated. I'm a college dropout, a multiple college dropout. And how did I get passionate about politics and economic? I'm not really all that passionate about economics. The labor economy is what I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about working blue-collar people getting a bigger slice of the pie that they can create, right? And where did I get that from? My parents were unionists. My dad was a union president. I saw the power of labor in my childhood, and then I saw what happened when it was stripped away. The first half of my childhood is quite idyllic. Both of my parents, blue-collar union laborers. Then my parents broke up, and Reagan weakened the unions, and my parents' pay got dropped, and all of a sudden, the standard of living went from here to here. And it was very apparent what the difference was, right? Weaker labor union, weaker labor practices equals less money for my parents. Equals less money for me and my sisters. Equals less money to spend at stores, equals a raw deal for blue-collar people. looking for a career change. I'm tired of being a teacher for shit pay. Yeah, that sucks. I mean, at least you've got like all of your general ed college shit. So if you go back to school for a specialty degree, you can skip that line and go straight into your fucking upper division classes and stuff.
But at the same time, too, you don't have to have a relevant degree necessarily to get the job that requires a degree.
Depends on the kind of job you're looking for, right?
Like, there's people that'll have a bachelor's in fucking language or something, but they'll get like a manager position or something just because they have a bachelor's or something.
Yeah. Oh. That's why I was asking how you worked IT if you were a college dropout. Oh, well, yeah.
Nepotism.
Yeah, nepotism and just working for a really country-ass school district that up until about 2015, 2014 didn't require a degree for their IT professionals. I was able to do a competency test and show that I knew how to work a computer. And I got on the job training for a year, and then I was hired as a permanent. And so I had to jump through hoops and take a fucking sliver of pay for a year to get it. So it wasn't easy to do that. But once I had that, I had a job that they really basically functionally couldn't fire me from. I was unionized, public school employee or whatever it is, the CSEI. So, and I got paid well. I also worked super hard and worked a lot of off the clock overtime and a lot of fucking bullshit. So, one of those things, you know. Yeah, my brother-in-law worked for the school district before I did. He put in a good word for me and got me the interview. So ultimately, nepotism got me through the door. General computer knowledge, because my dad was a computer nerd back in the 80s, all the way through the 90s and early 2000s, got me hired. That plus customer service experience, because huge part of that job was face-to-face customer service. So that got me in the door, and I did that for a long time. And it was a rough job.
Some people don't realize, like, back in the day, IT was still so new that they were just taking anyone that could figure it out.
Well, I mean, in a tiny little fucking town, it's a big school district, but it's a big school district spread out over a small town. And there were just not that many people living in town or that you could lure to live in Madtown with a degree, you know, and that changed a lot functionally between when I got hired in 2006, 7, somewhere around there. That changed a lot in that time. Madera blew up. Like, they built 2 or 3 schools in the time that I worked there. Split the high school campuses and did a huge reno on both of them to make them both independent high schools. So now there's 2 high schools in town. You know, all that happened on my watch, and it was this massive expansion of people moving into town, and that plus the just integration of way more tech. It's like there was a lot of technology when I showed up, but a lot of it was outdated and pretty simple. By the time I left, it was all flat screen iMacs and MacBook Pros and laptop carts filled with Chromebooks and, you know, rewiring every school from Cat 1 to Cat 5 or Cat 5e, Cat 6. Brand new, $20,000 Apple server blades, setting all that up, trying to get that to talk to the old shit as well as the new shit on campus, replacing old base stations, replacing old switches with new network hubs. I mean, I could go on. Like it was like the amount of money that was dumped into technology in just the little town I lived in the 8 years I worked for the school district had to be 20, 30, 40 million dollars. I mean, an absurd amount of money. So, with that money came questions like, why don't we require a computer engineering or computer science degree, a BSA, or a BCA, sorry, or BCS, Bachelor's Computer Science? Why don't we require that as an entry level before we're hiring that? Oh, okay, well, I don't know. Well, now we do. Of course, I didn't have to, go.
You didn't retroactively.
Right.
You did.
I was grandfathered in. I had, as long as I was performing the job as required, they couldn't fire me. But the dudes that got hired, and I got to be honest, like the investment was worth it. The dudes, because I was working there when the first round of dudes got hired that required that bachelor's in computer science. These guys were working tech support for a local corporation. It was a really huge tractor corporation that had a huge IT department. They left there to come to like 3 or 4 of them were hired away from that to come to the school district. And these dudes just knew way more than me. Like I was in there, wiring stuff. I didn't know how to clip and rewire a Cat 6 cable. Like you take a 20-foot cable, but you only need 3 feet of it. I didn't know how to fucking do that. So you would just bundle them up. You know what I mean? These guys knew how to do all that stuff.
You had to automate a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, they just came to the job ready to do the job, whereas I had to do a year of understudy to get up to speed to do the job. It's just, that's the payoff, right?
And you didn't have any like continuing education requirements either. So.
No, neither do the new positions, as far as I understand. But
unless they count those fucking conferences as continuing education.
I mean, I did do a lot of education. I got a lot of certs, like certifications that are, quite honestly, most of them are worthless for me outside of that context. But how will you react if Kamala loses? Will you pour salt in the wound of Vosh and his underlings? No. I mean, maybe a little. I don't know. I really don't care, honestly. I've got no dog in the hunt. So, whichever way it goes, we all lose,
But yeah, do you think this is about the closest the election's been in a while?
Go by the numbers, it's the closest election that we've had since 2016, basically. And it's closer. It's razor thin in comparison with 2016.
Yeah.
Hillary had a pretty massive numerical lead going in. She had something like a 30-point national lead going in, aggregate.
Yeah, and they've updated some polling
Yeah.
stuff since then because it was so off. But I think ultimately
It's about the razor thinnest margin of an election. I mean, you've got, it looks like Trump might pick up Wisconsin, which means he's probably doing way better than projected in Michigan as well. If that happens, then Kamala basically has to win Pennsylvania or she loses the election.
she's probably kicking herself for not picking that Pennsylvania governor for her VP.
I mean, she's widened out a little bit of a lead in Pennsylvania in the last polls we looked at, but that could change massively in the next month. So it's like, what are you gonna do? It's gonna be a fucking down to the wire nail biter. If you want, if you put a gun to my head and give me a read, Trump by a hair. I think we're going to see Kamala win the popular vote. I think Trump will win the electoral college vote based on the polling. and just based on the fact that with a candidate like Trump, people don't. There's a whole contingency of people that vote for Trump that don't like to say they're gonna.
Well, Pennsylvania, they're only giving her 54% chance of winning.
I mean, that's better than the dead heat that it
Yeah.
was last month.
Yeah.
Because it was like way too close to even give somebody the weight of it last month. It was 50-50, 49-51, somewhere in that margin of error. She's widened out a little bit of a discernible lead in the polling in Pennsylvania. But once again, there are certain things that polling can't account for. That being, what if people just lie? What if people get the polling phone call while they're sitting next to their wife and they don't want their wife to know they vote Trump, so they say Kamala? You know, there's a lot of people like that, I would imagine, in the Rust Belt and Michigan and fucking Wisconsin and these kinds of like places. You know, you're contending with that when you're just looking at polls.
Okay. Well, I guess like that's their projection for Pennsylvania, but the actual polling margin is Democrat plus 0.06.
I mean, it's razor thin.
Yeah.
It's a razor thin margin. And it's going to be down to the fucking wire, and it's going to be a nail biter for anybody that's invested one way or the other. I'm not. Yeah. Harris will win. Maybe. We'll see. Like right now, it's a coin flip. Anybody trying to prognosticate right now is lying their fucking ass off to you, or they got skin in the game and they're trying to put their thumb on the scale by making it look like. And see, one of the things too is one of the worst things you can do is to pretend like your candidate is coming out to a lead. It's like, so people are really against a barrel with this. Because there's a contingent of the liberal wing that's just like, oh yeah, Kamala's beating his ass, and it's just like that ain't true by the numbers. But telling people that might convince people to just stay the fuck home. Oh, she got it. They don't need me.
Also, it happened in 2016.
Yep.
A lot of people were disaffected.
I mean, with the media narrative and the political narrative was that there was literally no universe in which this horrible person was going to beat Hillary Clinton. She was basically anointed already, and it was just a technicality that we were going through this fucking electoral cycle. I mean, it literally was covered like that. Like, there's no way she can win. I think the New York Times gave her a 90% chance of winning the election the day before the election. I think that some places had her at 95. You know what I mean? There was just like such a small margin of error there, probability-wise, according to the thought process of people. And it ended up being entirely different. Entirely different. I see a lot of people like wasting energy right now. There's a lot of people on both sides really desperately hoping that they're going to convince somebody to come over at this point. That's over.
No, it's all about turnout at this point.
Yep. At this point, your best bet if you want somebody is to be fucking locally organizing, getting these like van to vote kind of things set up where you come pick people up, pick up old people, pick up people that need a ride, pick up people from work on their break, take them to a polling station, get them all fucking, you know what I mean? Like, that's it. That's really it right now. Turning out the vote is 100% of the game. Anybody that's still playing the rah game, trying to convince people, trying to argue with people at this point, fruitless, utterly pointless. You're not going to shave anybody off of either candidate at this point. People's minds are made up. They know how they're voting, barring some huge fucking thing like the death of a candidate or whatever.
Some
unforeseen
October surprise.
Right.
Like, we haven't really gotten.
I mean, we did. We got a couple of them. I mean, they just didn't happen to be politically calculated ones, right? So we got a new war in the Middle East that they've been desperately trying to keep a lid on before the election because they don't want it to erupt. They don't want stories about American troops dying yet. But that's happening. They tried to fucking re-indict Trump for something. I don't know. It was pretty salty gruel. Pretty salty Joe. You know what I mean? Joe. Obama scolding anyone is embarrassing. Yeah, I mean that's another one. Like they're getting all these high profile libs to go out and do these rallies, but the same applies to them that I just said about people online that are trying to make the fucking argument right now. You're not winning any hearts and minds. You're not drumming up any support. You know, the people that are there were people that would have been there no matter what. You're preaching to the choir. Nobody's getting fucking convinced because Obama went to Pennsylvania. It's just over. It's over. It's time to tally it up. And let's see what's what.
We need to stock up again before our trip, you think? Or you think you'll find plenty over there?
I know there's places over there, but I might as well just so I don't have to worry about it. Might as
You
well.
don't have to hunt around for one
I know.
with tourist prices.
Yeah.
You should go in there. You haven't gone in there yet.
Yeah. Check it out.
You've been to all the other ones, but not that one.
Yeah. We need a woman in the house, the White House. Hillary Clinton is the one. She was like 25% corporate, less corporate. She'd win easy. I mean, I think there's a couple of things she could do to really just lay on the needle, and the biggest one would be to call up Israel right now and put the ultimatum. You immediately start withdrawing troops from Lebanon. You immediately start withdrawing troops away from the border zone between you and Iran. You immediately draw down your actions in Gaza, or we remove all of our equipment and support from the region. That would be it. If she did that, she would win 100% of the vote.
Yeah, because that's the thing, is like there's no real choice on Israel between Trump and Kamala.
Yep.
They're both essentially selling
Right.
the same thing.
That's one of the reasons why this is going to be one of the closest elections in American history, is because there's so little daylight between the two candidates on major issues. You know, love it or
Medicare for all is off the table
right,
completely.
love it or leave it. America is populated largely by single issue voters, low information single issue voters.
And abortion alone just isn't enough.
Nope. They've used it too much. It's too gone. It's too much. You know, people living comfortably in states that already had a path to legal abortion, didn't see anything happen. People in southern states are used to it being fucking hard to get an abortion down there anyway. Nothing changed enough for people to care.
Yeah, it's like Democrats have been in power for the past 4 years, and
Right.
Roe v. Wade was still overturned.
Right.
So
It's just like people have given up on that. There's no Medicare for all. There's no federal wage increase at all on the table. Right now, it's like single issue voters that care about immigration, like people that are really worried about brown people coming across the border.
The difference between the
Right.
two of them is
Well, that's the problem. That's why it's so close. It's
Yeah.
choose your own adventure land, because they're literally the same party on that issue. Same thing goes with Israel. It's like, is there an anti-expansion of war in the Middle East vote for you? No. Both of them are rabidly warmongering for Israel. So it's like all those single issue voters are evenly split, or just stay home. You know what I mean? It's like all she would have to do is put a gulf between her and Trump on a major issue that people care about right now. Like the major issues right now are inflation and the housing market, immigration, and Israel. If she picked one and put a giant gulf between her and Trump and took action now, right? It has to be something she takes action on now, prior to the election. That would be the greatest October surprise of all fucking time and forever.
But they're playing this game where it's like, we'll hold it over their heads rather than doing it
Right.
now.
The major issue is she Donald Trump? See, not for a lot of people, bro. Maybe for you. Maybe Gotta Stop Orange Man worked on you. Maybe you have like somehow allowed yourself to be re-educated about Trump's literally nothing happened 4 years of a presidency. You could go like, oh, fucking COVID happened. Okay, well, Trump didn't cause COVID.
Yeah, it's arguable whether any side of that issue was the correct approach to.
We still don't know. So the point of the matter is that you have to make a really, really crazy argument to paint the first Trump presidency as disastrous.
Basically, the strongest argument they have is just like the courts. He packed the courts with conservative judges.
Well, you're not gonna.
Yeah, you can't like
you
just
can't
remove the
right.
ball.
You can't unpack the courts.
Yeah. He just got lucky with how many appointments he was able to make.
Yep.
But no, like back in the day, like remember when we were doing the Nixon episode? He basically tried to buy votes with like increasing Social Security. It's like, why not do that?
No, we don't do that anymore. We don't give people positive things to vote
and
for.
They act like it's a bad thing to buy votes with like actionable policy. It's like
we don't give people things to vote for. We give them somebody to vote against. And that is not motivating the American people to fucking hit the bricks for either one of these candidates in an appreciable way.
Like, think of how big a gulf would happen if they did the same thing that Nixon did and increase Social Security.
I mean, they could make some really, really simple, easy moves that could put a thumb on the scale. But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, you know? There are people like me, dude. I'm just a dyed-in-the-wool anti-war voter. Genocide is part of your plan. I'm not gonna do it. If expansion of another major war is part of your plan, I'm just not gonna do it. I am a hardline anti-war voter. If I don't have a vote on the ballot that is anti-war, I don't make that vote. I don't participate. And I have no participation. I could vote for Jill Stein this year.
But if you look at the margins in California, our vote basically means jack shit.
Yeah.
It's not going to tip
Your vote
anything.
means jack shit in like 39 states.
Yeah.
Pretty much. People calling you a MAGA communist last night for saying that Trump isn't the devil and I'm not scared of him, nor am I going to be scared by him into voting for Harris. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's because they're desperate. They're terrified. They're terrified of people like you being more than just you. You are an avatar of what they are most afraid of, which are people that have principles. People that have red lines and they say, enough is enough. I'm not going to vote for a person whose plan it is to send American troops to die in the fucking Middle East again. I'm just not going to do it. They are terrified of you. Because they worry that you're not just a lone entity, that you are a huge entity that is going to show up and show out or stay home, however it may be, on Election Day.
Yeah, there's like this entitlement some people feel like your vote is being taken from my cause.
Yeah, you're not entitled to my vote. Your cause is not entitled to my vote or my participation or any action from me whatsoever. You may as well just not waste your time. I am a person that informs myself on the issues. I don't need your opinion. I really don't. It's not that I'm closed off to hearing it. Sometimes it's nice to spar with somebody whose opinion doesn't match your own. But I don't need your opinion to inform my future actions. I've made my mind up about that. I'm a grown-ass man. I know what I vote for. I know what I vote against. I know where my red lines are. You're not going to change me. And you know what? I'm not that uncommon. Most people are in that position. Right? So this like cottage industry of collecting people who already agree with you and acting like you're pumping out, political activism into the world when really all you're doing is just smashing heads with somebody and nary a mind was changed. Mm-hmm. Like that cottage industry of pretending like online debate matters
Plus, bugging you is the worst thing. Like, go bug someone in fucking Pennsylvania or something. Go find a streamer that lives
Yeah.
there or something.
Yeah, or better yet, bug some of these candidates to adopt better policies that people are more liable to vote for. Instead of bugging people and trying to shame people who have red lines and principles, why don't you bug and shame these fucking politicians that you're trying to get people to vote for? How about that? People just label you whatever they want. Yeah. It's, it's a choose your own adventure kind of game that I've been talking about. This idea that you don't have to change positions when confronted with contrary fact, because contrary fact is up for opinion now. It's way easier to just find a group of 2,000 people who all agree with you or are going to ass pat you for saying something wrong than it is to change your position on something. Yeah, I keep the mods thick in here because people are straight up fucking morons. People will come and turn the chat into an unwatchable, unreadable, drooling moron fest like that if I don't have a bunch of killers on the squad. That's just the way it works, bro. You're under scrutiny when you post up in here. Everything you post is being read by a number of eyes. And if it's fucking tweaks anybody's nose, you gone. Walk on eggshells in this bitch. What? Oh, I bought her a chain, I bought her a bag, I'm buying her everything. Deep cuts. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Where's my stick? I know I got a stick or two up here. Come on. How many joints have I been rolling on? I know I got a stick or three. Gotta have it. Gotta have a stick or three. I got my ballot in Arizona. Arizona. You got your Arizona ballot? Cool. Good for you, bud. Make sure you vote for X candidate that's gonna fuck you over and not Y candidate that's gonna fuck you over, okay? Nothing makes you more angry than that? Nothing in the world? Don't reply to me, lol. Yeah, true. Side combos. Don't be doing that shit. This ain't a fucking social club. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, bitch? You must be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. You didn't know? Ah. Oh, okay. Nobody is more angry about it. I got stoned. Somewhere along the line, I got super stoned. I was gonna do a stream, but then I got high. Started thinking about snacking on things, and then I got high. I don't want to talk about voting anymore. We're gonna switch the topic. You got even just having to explain my position. Like, I gotta be honest with you, dude. I'm getting a little bit bored of having to re-explain my position every 9 fucking seconds. I just I'm done with it tonight. I'm done with it. It's been done. Another fucking reference point for people to look at. But it's just like, it's getting absurd. It's the amount of times that I've had to explain the basics. This electoral cycle is fucking enormous. Enormous. And my position really shouldn't be all that hard to understand, but it really is for people who are kind of like part of the football duopoly. So I just have to fucking say it over and over, but I'm done talking about it. I don't sermonize Taoism. Why is being a Zionist is not treated as the same as being a Nazi, because it's not the same. Any thoughts on the new Monster Hunter coming up? Dude, I'm not even really all that excited for it. Maybe I'll pick it up, but I really don't care to play Monster. I think, like, there was something about the last Monster Hunter, whatever the fuck it was, that just like turned me off. I don't know what it was. There was something about it though. I didn't like it. And so the next Monster Hunter coming out is not all that interesting to me. Rise. Yeah. I liked World quite a bit, but Rise just kind of hit me wrong. No, I'm right at the end of Monkey Souls, but other games done come out. So like fucking Space Marine 2 came out. I beat that, you know, the campaign of that. Now I'm playing the shit out of Sparking. And so, you know, it's backburnered. I bought her a chain, I bought her a bag, I'm buying her everything. I want to roll a half blunt. Half blunt. Half blunt. I mean, go ahead and do it if you want to do it. I ain't the pusher, man. Rise definitely had a tone shift to it I didn't like. I think this is going to be more like Rise. I don't know, man. I just wasn't... maybe I'm just, like, kind of done with the format of Monster Hunter. Oh. I'm glad, dude. I'm glad you're enjoying The Sopranos. Yeah, it's a good ass show, bro. I'll probably watch that show again next year. I watched it one. I think I'm gonna do a yearly watch of The Sopranos. I think that until I'm sick of it. What do you recommend for a single guy at 31 with a remote job who isn't sure where to live in the U? I really don't. I can't help you with that, bro. I don't know you. It's like if you were my friend, I might know a few of your proclivities and shit, but I have no idea what you're into, what you're about, who you are, what you like doing, what you prioritize. It's just like a question I cannot, it's cannot give you an answer to. As a format, which is better, film or television? I think the line between those two things is blurred to the point where there's really no difference. Band of Brothers is my favorite HBO show. Oh, it's pretty good. Chrissy is my favorite in Sopranos. What was yours? I mean, you know, setting aside Tony, who is just so fucking brilliant in the show, I really liked, what's his fucking name? Bacala. Bobby Bacala. I like him a lot. No, I'm not gonna watch. I bailed out on the Dexter format. Got old to me by like season 4. People yell at me all the time, but I was bored with Dexter by season 4. I didn't want to watch anymore, and I literally haven't watched an episode of Dexter. I haven't thought about Dexter unless somebody mentioned it, probably since like 2012 or 13. I'm just over it, bro. 100% over it. Yeah, The Sopranos is worth a watch, yeah. It may be the greatest show of all time. I would be hard-pressed to really genuinely put it neck and neck against any other show and find that other show better. Yeah. The Wire is really good, yeah. I'll probably do another watch through of The Wire. Probably not this next year, though. I watched it at the very beginning of this year, I think, or maybe late last year. I can't remember. And it's good, but it hasn't been long enough for me to want to dive back into it. But it is a really good show. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Isn't it just a mob show? I mean, no. It's a philosophical treatise disguised as a mob show. It is a tour of world philosophy told through the eyes and ears of a wacky mob family. It is utterly unlike any other show. Yeah, I really liked the first half of Breaking Bad way more than I liked the second half of Breaking Bad. I didn't enjoy Breaking Bad on the back end as much as I enjoyed going into it, you know. But overall, still a pretty good show. I think people glaze it a little too much, but it was a good show. I can't even remember the last show TJ recommended. I really like. I don't think he bothers because he knows that I really don't watch TV shows unless I'm ready to. Like I didn't watch Breaking Bad until this year. I watched Breaking Bad for the first time early this year with my wife. I'd never seen it, never bothered. Um, so I wait a long time sometimes to really care to watch a show. And yeah, maybe it was Rick and Morty. I mean, I liked the episodes that he told me to watch, but not enough for me to go back and watch the show. It's too adult animation for me. But you know, every time someone asks you to watch it, you pushed it off. I mean, yeah, I was just joking with that, but I won't lie that like when a show comes out that everybody likes, the constant cultural radiation of have you watched this? Have you watched this? What do you think of this? What do you think of season 2, fucking episode 9 of fucking this? Blah blah blah. It's like I really have to underline to people that I don't participate in pop culture in the same way when it comes to TV shows that you probably do. I'm not looking to jump on a new TV show typically. I like TV shows to be wrapped up before I even start because I don't want to get cucked. I really, really have a fucking thing with shows that end before they're done. And Deadwood is one of my favorite TV shows of all time, and it basically just like unceremoniously ended after the fourth or fifth, I can't remember, season. And it just, bleh, like I don't ever want that to happen again. So I will find out whether a show's narrative is wrapped up by the end of its fucking runtime or not, and that is totally and utterly like I will not watch a show that leaves you hanging. So that knocks off quite a few shows that people want you to check out. Show that's got a full narrative, you know.
When you take chance, like Three Bodies is probably the one you took the biggest chance on recently.
Not even really a chance though. It's like for me, I was super interested to see how it differed.
Yeah.
I really liked the American Netflix series, but I kind of lamented how truncated it was. And the Chinese show is the other end of that. It's actually a little too slow. But
30 episodes for one book.
Yeah, 30 episodes for one book.
Full-length episodes.
And they're filming the second fucking book right now. Their plan is to do all three. I'll be watching all three. I'm just putting it out there. I'll be watching it all three. I'll be finishing this one. It's good enough to keep me coming back for it.
I've just been crawling through it.
Yeah. But it wasn't a person that told me, hey, you should watch this. It was the book that I read that piqued my interest enough for me to go through and watch it.
We had to hunt this one down because it had like no hype about it.
Yeah, nobody talked about it. And I think the reason for that is a lot of people are going to eject when it hits that kind of middle zone where it's just, very, very slowly unfolding. Yeah, there's a Chinese version of the Three Body Problem. It's on Peacock. That's the way we can get it. And it's really good. But it's like everything the Netflix version was, but take every episode of that and make it 5 episodes, basically. It follows the book pretty fucking word for word, and maybe even goes beyond the book in terms of how it drags out certain revelations and segments and conversations and stuff. So it's a very slow burn of a show, but I'm enjoying it still,
And with us learning Mandarin, we're picking up more and more of the words.
Yeah. Yeah, that also has made it kind of fun. And we weren't really learning Mandarin when we started it, but now that we have started learning Mandarin, watching an episode of the show, it's kind of fun to see how much of it you can pick up, and how, we're both really early in Mandarin, but
There's certain words that definitely.
there's certain words that are used constantly, so you start to really pick that up. It's kind of cool. Yeah, it's subtitled, of course. I don't want to be that guy, but I've got to recommend the Penguin Crime Saga. Oh my god, dude, I'm done with superhero shit, so don't even bother recommending it. I will not watch another superhero property probably for the next 5. It's gonna be about 15 years before I go even think about seeing one in the theater. I want them to do something different with it, and really the only thing you can do in this country is vote with your wallet. I am not going to be one of the zombie masses that shuffles into Wasp Woman and the Ant-Man for the fifth fucking... I'm just not going to do it.
I remember when we went to that fucking drive-in, we liked Cruella de Vil more than the fucking Black Widow movie or whatever.
Yeah, we saw Cruella. It was a way better movie than the fucking Black Widow movie.
And you would have had no interest in Cruella.
I never would have saw Cruella, but it was actually a half-decent movie for what it was.
Yeah.
And it was watchable anyway and entertaining, and the Black Widow movie was just boring and shitty and poorly written and just like CGI garbo. It was just awful. That's what people always say. Oh yeah, you're missing out, man. It's really good. It's like, I don't care. I don't care. I don't even...
There's a billion interesting things out there in the world.
Dude, if I sat down right now and made it my life's work to watch every TV show ever made, I wouldn't even get 0.1% there before I croak. So there's so much good shit out there that I've never even heard of that I'm not worried about missing cape shit. Sorry. I'm just tired of the world. I don't want to hear Batman's story again. I don't want to hear Penguin's story again. I don't want to see a movie set in Gotham City again. I don't want to see the Joker again. I don't want to see the Batmobile again. I don't want to see any of it. I am truly bored with the setting, the characters, and when it comes to Batman, especially hearing Batman's story retold for the 50th fucking time.
And they've pretty much never fucking deviated from it either. It's always his parents died.
His parents died and it made him a vengeance guy. Oh, okay, I get it. Yeah, I've known that since I was 8. So thank you. That's cool. Can we do something else? Well, how about this? Batman's mysterious origins. It's like, fuck you, bro. I just will not, dude, if it's a superhero thing, you may as well not even fucking give me a recommendation on it, because I'm just going to shoot it down in your face. 100% of the time. I am bored with the setting. I don't want to see a reimagining of it. Don't even tell me, well, dude, it takes the setting and turns it on its head. I've seen it from every which way. I've seen its ass. I've seen its head. I've seen its back. I've seen its junk. I've seen the bottoms of its feet. Okay, there's no angle on which I'm interested in hearing about it or thinking about it.
We were talking about it the other day, like which Batman was bad, and like we went through like 5.
There's like literally in my lifetime, there's been 6 Batmans, and maybe 2 of them were good. It's like, nah. I mean, 6 different actors that played Batmans. Way more than 6 Batman movies.
Yeah. Probably more than 6, actually, if we really think about it.
I don't want to really think about it, but yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah. And they all had to tell the same story over again.
Every last one of them had to tell how Batman got mad when his parents got killed, and that's why he a vigilante. We got to waste an hour worth of the movie getting there. Fuck it. Capital O over it. And I really wish a lot of you zombified motherfuckers would quit going seeing Wasp Woman and Ant-Man 3, the quest for the fucking Infinity Gem, or whatever they're doing right now. I wish you motherfuckers would tell them these don't make money anymore. Because I'm ready for it to go completely away for about 15, 20 years. It has been 30 years, or close to it, of almost unbroken cape shit dominance. I'm done. There's no story that they can tell that I'm interested in seeing. I don't care if it's an inversion of a trope or what. I don't care. Like I said, dude, I feel like a butcher. I've seen so many parts of the animal from so many angles. Why venerate a billionaire vigilante as a superhero? I mean, because he's cool. Because he does cool shit. And at least as a billionaire, he's out there trying to help people, you know? But like, I've heard the story. There's nothing you can tell me.
Do you think Batman is America's James Bond in terms of its, like, cultural interest?
Batman is way bigger than James Bond, probably even in England.
Yeah.
Yeah, James Bond is kind of like I mean, he's huge. He's obviously a household name, but not on the level of Batman. Batman is all over the spectrum. There's way more Batman movies than Bond movies. Way more.
I don't like this. The appeal the same, like with all the gizmos and gadgets and shit.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's a detective. That's why Batman got popular, because ultimately he's a detective. He doesn't do a whole lot of detective shit in the movies now. It's more just driving his car really fast and blowing things up. But yeah, I mean, you know, that detective edge, the gadgetry, the fighting ability, the I'm a sexy billionaire, it definitely scratches the same male power fantasy itch as Bond does, for sure. You know, Batman always gets the girl, Batman is hot, Batman is confident, Batman is rich and doesn't have to answer to anybody, so he's powerful. But even then, you know, he goes out at night and he exerts that power in ways that we can only fucking fantasize about as men. He goes out and he beats up people who deserve it, you know? Beats up criminals, beats up people who hurt women and children, and he beats up robbers and people that robbed a granny, and you know what I mean? Like, all that shit. Men like that. We have this, like, part of our DNA is like, you gotta be puffed up and ready to fucking throw bows, you know? And so, like, the part of our fantasy life is oftentimes, I wish I could kick that motherfucker's fucking ass. You know what I mean? And so we see that happening in a movie with a dude that's 10 times hotter than us, 10 times more capable than us, 10 times richer than us. And it allows men to retreat into a fantasy where we kind of supplement ourselves for the hero. Oh, he's like me because he's got a dick, so yeah, this is a man shit. It's just a very male thing. It's male power fantasy is what it is. There's nothing wrong with it, I don't think. I mean, female fantasies are all over goddamn movies and shit, too. You know, like the kind of like romance movies and rom-coms are typically where you see the female fantasy play out. Like the one that I always think of, it's certainly not the only example, but the one I always think about is Eat, Pray, Love. Did you ever see Eat, Pray, Love?
I did not actually sit down and watch it.
Well, you didn't miss anything, baby doll. I got dragged to Eat, Pray, Love by one of my exes. This was fucking like in the early 2000s, whenever that came out. And whoo boy, is that movie just, it made my non-existent ovaries ache with desire to be impregnated and taken away from my life and moved to a beautiful island by Javier Bardem. I literally, by the time I left there, I I feel like like my biological clock was ticking. My womb was quivering. You know what I mean? It was crazy. But here's what that movie's about. I'll give you guys the long and the short of it. White woman, super successful businesswoman, right? Super successful, busy all day, on the phone, on the pager, fucking picking this up, printing things out, running across town to solidify a deal. Doesn't have 10 seconds to herself. Her marriage falls apart. She finds out her husband's cheating on her. And it's like the base of the pyramid crumbles, and she doesn't have any desire to do any of the other stuff anymore. So she just like cashes out. So she's super rich. So she just cashes out a bunch of stock, quits her job. Everybody says she's crazy. But her idea is, I'm going to travel the world and find somewhere else to be because I don't belong here. So she goes to Britain first, I think, and ends up in Ireland and ends up hanging out and drinking and blah, 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 and meeting hot dudes and this and that, right? It's basically that. And then she goes to India, and it's less about sex in India. It's more about enlightenment, and she joins an ashram, and everything's beautiful and perfect in India, and blah, 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 blah. And then I think the last place she goes is some Pacific island. I can't remember, Vanuatu or some shit. And there she meets this guy that she really just, man, he kind of gets under my skin, named Javier Bardem, who ends up sweeping her off her feet. And she finds what she was really looking for, another man. There you go. I just saved you fucking hours of pain, okay? Really didn't need any of that spiritual enlightenment. Didn't need the new friends and fun and freedom of being single. What she needed was a man. All along, the answer to her problem of a man hurting her so bad that she felt she didn't fit in the world anymore was a man. Female power fantasy complete. Yeah, dude, I was having hot flashes, bro. When I came out, I was like, whew, is it warm? Can we... I'm just, whew. Yeah. But we can only make fun of it so far. Because, let's be real, movies have been dominated by the male power fantasy way fucking longer than they've been injected with the female power fantasy, okay? The female power fantasy was very rarely, if ever, explored in films. Probably until like the 80s, 70s maybe, is when you started to see these romance films where ultimately, like, I mean, one of the tropes of a romance or rom-com movie is people are together and they just really don't get along and they break up and they both go on these separate journeys, but they end up together again. The time apart teaches them to love each other. Or this person here's another one. A woman is unlucky in love, has a rash of boyfriends that are just horrible to her, and she decides she's never gonna have sex again, and then she's fucking like liberated from that, and she's gonna focus on herself. And so she becomes a super successful businesswoman, and then a man comes along and sweeps her off her feet. That's the plot of a movie. What the fuck is it? It's got Meg Griffin in it. Not Meg Griffin. Meg Ryan. Working Girl. I think that's the name of it. She starts off as a prostitute, and she has a series of like bad interactions with Johns and her pimp. And then she quits that and has bad boyfriends working a normal job. And so she just swears off men, becomes a business mogul, gets exposed for her prostituting past. But then the businessman sweeps in and sweeps her off her feet. Meg Griffin. Meg Griffin. Did I say Meg Griffin? Melanie Griffith is the person I think I'm thinking of. But she is kind of Meg Griffin-ish in that movie. Working Girl is the name of that. You gotta watch, though, because sometimes those rom-com movies sometimes they are male power fantasies designed as female power fantasies. Hence, When Harry Met Sally. Harry is an unlovable nerd. Sally is a super hot, super interesting, quirky, manic pixie dream girl. She should never end up with him, right? But she does. See? A girl like that would never be with a fucking neurotic nerd like Billy Crystal. Oh, wait. Yes, she will. Some of them go wacky, too. Dude, you want to hear the most egregious male power fantasy rom-com of all time? It's called Mannequin. It is about a man who, like, is unlucky in love and working at a department store, and one of, like, his sheer loneliness brings one of the mannequins to life, and she is every bit a mannequin. She needs him to teach her how to dress, how to talk, it's literally just like a woman has just dropped in your lap. Another one of these male power fantasies disguised as female power fantasies is, oh man, what's the one with Julia Roberts and Richard Gere? Pretty Woman. That movie is about a fucking rich guy just literally taking a beautiful lower class whore and turning her into a beautiful upper class woman just for the fucking fuck of it. Yeah.
Dynor, did you just fart? I heard a little toot out of you. Go poop if you gotta poop.
Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Female power fantasy, but with a lot of male fun in it. But yeah, it's, I mean, like, Ramona, how many men are literally willing to fight for the death just to hold her hand? I mean, come on. Yeah, that whole movie is about simping. Ramona Flowers is the ultimate manic pixie dream girl stand-in for a real woman that's ever been made in movies. That movie, okay, there are two movies that changed how men perceived what they wanted out of women for like a decade. Can you name them both? One of them is Scott Pilgrim versus the World. What's the other one? What is the other movie that solidified the manic? Well, there's two. I'm going to give you two because there really are two. Two more movies out of three that solidified the manic pixie dream girl. Juno is one. Breakfast Club is a good one to mention, but no. Not Twilight. Twilight was a different era. So we're talking Scott Pilgrim, Juno, and there's one more. One more manic pixie dream girl. There it is. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. For 10 years, men wanted, and it really led to the modern gamer girl. The manic pixie dream girl obsession of the early 2000s led directly into the current crop of gamer girls, Amaranths and Emirus, and these girls that are just like, they've got blue hair and their tits are always out because they're always wearing a fucking bustier and a bodice. And they wear fantasy, wolf tails and cat ears, and you know what I mean? That all came, that desire for a woman to be more like a baby doll, like a doll that a little girl would play with, rather than like a girl, you know what I mean? That started with these manic pixie dream girl types. You know what I mean? They were all too aloof. They're all too cool to be normal girls. They're not like the other girls. Right? They're different. And you can tell they're different because their hair is blue, right? You guys get it? Wreck-It Ralph, yeah, dude. Wreck-It Ralph is really responsible for how e-girls act. Every e-girl, if you watch them, and I don't want, like, look, dude, I've seen the mean ones. But the ones that I've bumped into in my ramblings on the internet, right? Every last one of them, if you look at them and watch their mannerisms and shit, is Vanellope von Schweetz. Vanellope von Schweetz from Wreck-It Ralph literally is like been carbon copied 9 million times, and that's all you find on Twitch. Well, see, Abby actually holds up to it. Abby's hair is blue, and she's not like the other girls, so there you go. I mean, every dude does. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you I don't like a manic pixie dream girl. Oh, come on. Yeah, see, that's after my time, Andrew. I watched that Netflix documentary on Dan Schneider, and he literally became relevant right at the time when Nickelodeon became irrelevant for me. Like, I didn't see Drake and Josh, which I didn't even know existed until that documentary. The Ariana Grande show, which I don't even remember the name of. Any of, like, the shows where it's alleged that he was abusing people and blah, blah, blah. Thoughts on shoe on head? Not really. Same. I was around for Ren and Stimpy. Yeah, Ren and Stimpy. Here's what I remember watching, right, on Nickelodeon when I stopped watching, right? Here's the things that I watched on Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon had Nick at Night, right? Back in the day, which would show not just cartoons, but like old TV shows. I loved Nick at Night because it was like all the shows that were on TV when I was a kid that were really old by the time I was a kid. They would show all that shit. And I used to love that. It's like Andy Griffith and the Dick Van Dyke Show and Matlock and stuff like that, right? So they did Nick at Night. They did, they had just started doing something, I think it was called Toonami. Does that make any sense? Anybody remember that? Where they would show like anime stuff sometimes? I would watch Dragon Ball Z on that. And then they were doing Ren and Stimpy. They were doing, okay, and then they had a couple of live action shows. Hey Dude, which was like a bunch of teenage kids on a dude ranch working at, like, they spent their summers at the dude ranch, right? Taking care of the horses, riding the horses and stuff, and falling in love with one another and having chaste non-relationships. And then there was Salute Your Shorts, which was like another live action one. It was about a summer camp. And all the different, like, stereotypical types of kids. The fat bully, the nerdy ginger redhead, you know what I mean? Like, it just had all those kids. Nope, Keenan and Kel were after my time. I missed out Keenan and Kel. I was aware of them. Like, I knew Good Burger because the movie came out. So I was aware of them, but I really wasn't watching. By the time, I would say like 94 is probably when I started really heavily just like, I'm not watching Nickelodeon anymore at that point, I would imagine. Maybe a year earlier, maybe like 93, 94-ish. That's the last age that I can even imagine I was tuning in to Nick. And probably at that age or beyond, the only time I really tuned into it was for Nick at Night stuff. I used to love, I still do love those old TV shows and shit, so. I mean, you'd have to go look it up, bro. Even 15 years ago, anime and weebs were just a niche subculture. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was aware of anime way before it was even a niche subculture. I mean, I watched some anime back in the late 90s. There's a really weird old shonen anime called Project A-ko that me and my friends really liked because it was the first time we were exposed to nudity in an anime, and it's really like There's no sex in it. There's just titties in it. But it was also kind of fun. It was the first time we'd been exposed to the trope of like a super girl, right? Like a high school girl that was super. And so we watched that. I watched another anime that I really enjoyed called Vampire Hunter D. That was a really cool anime. Really cool old anime with a totally different kind of like style than modern anime that I really miss. Kind of gritty and less fluid. Um, then what did I watch way back when? I'm trying to remember. There's one that I can remember in my head. I can remember part of the plot of it, but I cannot remember the fucking anime. It was about like a colony ship. Fucking can't remember. Akira, although I know that's not a traditional like anime show. Watched Akira back in the day. Watched Ghost in the Shell back in the day. What else? Probably, I mean, like obviously DBZ. Like I started watching Dragon Ball and then Dragon Ball Z. I used to catch pretty much every episode that I could of Speed Racer. I used to really like that show when I was a kid. Speed Racer was a lot of fun. Voltron, another anime that came to America. So Ninja Turtles wasn't really an anime. It was an American animation show. Oh, well, yeah, back in the day, I watched Princess Mononoke, Howl's Moving Castle, like the earlier Miyazaki movies. Yeah, I'd seen both of those before, the mid 90s, I think. Maybe not Howl's Moving Castle, but certainly Mononoke. Yeah. I mean, if there's a Miyazaki movie, I'm there for it. I'm going to watch it. I mean, I think Spirited Away might be the most beautiful anime ever made. I mean, it just brought me to tears a couple of times watching it, which is kind of hard to do for me. It's hard to get me in the headspace to even want to cry during a movie, even if it is really sad. That movie just overwhelmed me visually and emotionally. Great film, top tier, you know. Yeah, I saw a little bit of Cowboy Bebop. I'm not a big fan. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people like it, but Cowboy Bebop and I are not. I don't know. I don't vibe with it like other people do, I guess. You know what modern anime aesthetic I really have learned to like, dude? I've really learned to like those Shin Megami Tensei games. There's a new one that just came out, right? I need to get it, bro. I need to get it on my Steam Deck. Because I really, really enjoyed the anime aesthetic in those games, right? A Persona slash Shin Megami Tensei Devil Summer games or whatever. No, RPG, JRPGs. Yeah, Metaphor, that's the name of it. I'm starting to save up for a Steam Deck. Cool. Yeah, you should get one. If you're going to save up, make sure, unless, I mean, maybe you don't care, but I'm telling you, HDR is a game changer. It really is. If you've never gamed on an HDR display, saving up a little extra for the HDR capable Steam Deck is, yeah, you have to buy, so to play the Steam Deck on the TV, they sell a dock that has inputs and outputs, so you would just hook it to your TV that way, and then you can pair a Bluetooth controller with it or plug a USB controller into the dock and play on your TV that way. I've seen Death Note, yeah. It wasn't as memorable for me as it was for a lot of people. playing Metal Gear Solid 5 on the Steam Deck with my HDR OLED TV right now. Yeah. The OLED display, like I had never seen an HDR display for gaming until I got my OLED Steam Deck. And the first game I played was Cyberpunk, and I turned HDR on, and I was like, oh my fucking God, now I see. It's like a whole different, like the color saturation, it can't be overstated how much it adds to certain games. Like Sparking Zero is insane. The Dragon Ball game I'm playing right now is fucking wild when it comes to, oh wow, cool. Hello, little friend, come to me. Don't go in there. Come to me. Come to me, friend. Okay, well, he flew away. There was a ladybug. A Ghost of Tsushima with HDR. I mean, it's crazy. It's wild. You listened to... I have not listened to the new Playboy Cardi shit, but I probably will. I'm going on a road trip later this week. Not a road trip, a trip. I'm going to the fucking beach and fuck you all later this week, and yeah, I'll probably play it on the way up. Terrifier 3 was boring. I don't know, you're gonna have to fight TJ on that. I've never seen any of the Terrifiers, so I really don't care. You're not gonna hurt my feelings with it, but TJ loves that franchise, so you could get in an argument with him, but yeah, I don't really care. Yeah, The Substance for sure. Best movie I saw this year. I don't suspect I'll see a better movie before the end of the year. My mods don't post nonsense, but you bitching about my mods is nonsense, so you get banned. You see how that works? It's like the Uno reverse card. You came in here to try and like rustle shit up, but I don't have mods that post nonsense, so your time wasting ass gets to go get another alt. See how that fucking works? Isn't it crazy? Horror is just a very hard genre to do well, and I think Terrifier did a good job of that. Sure. I just don't like slashers. I'm just bored of slasher movies. Like, utterly done. So, not my thing. All right. I think I'm done. Peace.